94, and they had a unbelievable season going on that year in 94. They had a lockout. The season was over, and it took 5 years to recover. 4 years to recover. It took the summer of 1998 and the home run chase with Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire putting on one of the most unbelievable and historic displays in sports history to reborn Major League Baseball.
The Women's National Basketball Association stands at a pivotal moment as contract negotiations threaten to derail significant progress achieved in recent years. The possibility of labor disruption looms large, potentially undermining the league's unprecedented growth trajectory and financial gains that have energized stakeholders across the organization. Sports history provides sobering lessons about the devastating consequences of labor conflicts. Baseball's 1994 work stoppage interrupted what many considered an extraordinary season, leading to cancellation and requiring nearly half a decade to rebuild fan trust and engagement. The historic home run chase of 1998, involving Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire, eventually restored baseball's cultural relevance. The WNBA operates without comparable recovery options. Any extended disruption would likely result in permanent dissolution of the organization.
With the elephant in the room, Caitlin Clark ruled out for Thursday with a groin injury. How they were playing this entire time between day-to-day and game-time decision and questionable, I was skeptical. I had to go straight to the source, and sure enough, the Indiana Fever, more than 24 hours advance, let fans know, hey, Caitlin's not going to be there. Instead of having you drive 5 hours only to realize 2 hours away, she's out. After flying 10 hours, only to realize 5 hours in the air.
This fragility seems lost on numerous participants in current discussions. The league's remarkable surge in popularity remains delicate and could dissipate rapidly if prolonged conflicts emerge. Recent gains encompass higher attendance figures, expanded television audiences, and intensified media coverage, largely attributed to emerging stars such as Caitlin Clark. Nevertheless, Clark has endured aggressive defensive tactics, resulting in missed contests, jeopardizing the league's commercial appeal since broadcasting agreements rely heavily on marquee talent.
To reborn Major League Baseball. The WNBA does not have that luxury. If they go into a lockout, this league is over. It's a wrap. And I'm not sure these players quite understand that. All right? It would not take a lot for a lot of people to just say, I'm good. I gave it a shot, and it didn't work out. There was too much drama, too much bullshit, too many bad.
Existing compensation frameworks establish context for upcoming negotiations. Skilled performers like Kelsey Mitchell receive roughly $249,000 per season. The updated broadcasting deal will elevate league income from approximately $60 million to more than $250 million annually. Yet this expansion must support additional franchises and enlarged rosters, preventing straightforward multiplication of present wages.
Only to realize 5 hours in the air, she's out. After coming all the way from Australia, over 8,000 miles, to watch Caitlin Clark, only to land and hear she's out, the Indiana Fever finally give us advanced notice, dare I say, that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. I appreciate that. Stephanie White talks about the injury and why we're going from game time decision to ruling her out earlier now.
Roster enlargement constitutes a pressing requirement. Current arrangements create scenarios where capable athletes like Arie McDonald navigate complex signing procedures involving temporary contracts and short-term agreements. Organizations should maintain simple processes for securing quality performers throughout entire seasons when budget flexibility permits, mirroring NBA operational standards.
There's too much drama, too much bullshit, too many bad refs, a clown show of a commissioner, the whole nine, watching their beloved star get the crap beat out of her every other game, her missing games now, which is a disaster. By the way, they're getting this new media rights deal because of her. Caitlin Clark did, by the way, comment on this CBA. Look, they're going to get a salary bump, but if the average
Athletes have declined the opening CBA offer, with union leadership voicing substantial disapproval. This response troubles numerous observers since the organization has never achieved profitability and relies completely on NBA financial support. Competitors essentially benefit from achievements of NBA superstars including Stephen Curry, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant through cross-subsidization arrangements.
To ruling her out earlier now. Let's take a listen.
Nothing about it being a game plan decision these last couple of games and being able to rule her out today. Is there any extra kind of concern about just, that little change in?
I don't know if there's extra concern as more of like, hey, let's just maintain perspective. She wants to play, and she's working to play, and she has been working to play. And I think after, a few days, it's like, okay, we've got a little bit of time. Thinking, 5 games before All-Star break, we've got a little bit of time. So let's just ease her mind, even though she's antsy.
Organizational survival hinges on sensible wage expectations.
bump, but if the average player, let's just say above average, Kelsey Mitchell got what? A 1-year, $249,000 contract, I think, roughly. I think it's safe to assume that with the new media rights deal, all right, they're going to be going from around $60 million a year to over $250, million a year, all in, all said and done.
Phoenix Mercury's Satou Sabally, functioning as a player representative, described the organization's opening offer as offensive. Her statements followed announcement of 3 expansion teams establishing total franchises at 18. Game schedules will probably extend from current amounts towards 60 contests, potentially achieving 50 matches within 5 years following recent increases from 40 to 44 games. Information from negotiation sources indicates the league's initial proposal inadequately addressed player demands. Sabally promoted roster expansion while recognizing that 3 additional franchises represent finalized decisions requiring accommodation despite current team preferences.
Thinking, 5 games before All-Star break, we've got a little bit of time, so let's just ease her mind, even though she's antsy, and let's do this the right way and make sure that we're ready to go and 100% when she comes back.
Nothing about it being a game.
Now, a lot of people are seeing this, hearing this, saying, oh, they're going to hold it out until All-Star break. They're going to hold her out until All-Star break. We got to keep proper perspective. My question to Stephanie White would be, it took us this long to put things in proper perspective, to give us a real timetable. It took us this long to say, oh, well, we got 5 games.
Indiana Fever athletes Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson released a coordinated statement emphasizing that league development necessitates CBA modifications reflecting player contributions. They contended for appropriate compensation based on business achievements they helped establish. The organization declined to address these remarks. ESPN documented the broadcasting agreement's ultimate value approaching $3 billion with yearly worth
said and done. You got expansion. You've got rosters that need to increase in size. All right. So you can't just automatically be like, well, that's 4 times, so the salary's going up 4 times. No, there's going to have to be money spread out. You've got expansion, and you need to increase these rosters. There shouldn't be an Ari McDonald situation. If a WNBA team wants to sign an Ari McDonald, they should be able to sign her straight up.
Nevertheless, supplementary teams generate a 50% expansion from 2024 to 2030, reducing revenue allocation. Roster enlargement creates comparable effects, distributing available resources across additional positions. The Washington Post documented yearly deficits averaging $10 million since organizational establishment. This financial circumstance limits negotiation boundaries despite enhanced revenue forecasts. Caitlin Clark emphasized compensation disparities, observing Commissioner Cup victors receive approximately $30,000 individually while WNBA champions earn $11,030.56. She requested Commissioner Cathy Engelbert address these imbalances. Clark's assessment reflects legitimate concerns regarding prize structure priority.
Well, we got 5 games until the All-Star break. Maybe we should wait a little bit. Oh, Caitlin Clark, she really wants to play. Let's just ease her mind. Why is it taking this long? Was there an inkling all along throughout these game time decisions, throughout these day-to-day status reports, that she was always going to be not ready to go prior to the game, but we still strung people along? And if she is out until All-Star break, then I'm steadfast holding the position they knew this injury was more serious than it was, and they decided not to tell us.
Mid-season tournaments produce questionable benefits compared to traditional championships. The precedent of controlled environment championships raises questions about competitive authenticity when teams avoid challenging road atmospheres. Wage expectations determine negotiation outcomes. Reasonable advance from $49,000 to $600,000 appear viable, while demands for $2 million yearly salaries would force organizational closure. Financial circumstances suggest only one athlete currently warrants exceptional compensation, potentially $10 million annually, while others remain valued around.
They should be able to sign her straight up for the season. None of that hardship 10-day crap, that was for the birds, and it looked like some clown shit from the league. I mean, honestly, I was like, what is this crap? I understand they've had 10-day contracts in the NBA forever, but as long as the salary cap room is there, they can usually just pull the trigger, bring somebody on if they decide to keep them. There was all these regulations and shit. You had guys trying to become experts in that.
Encouraging developments include rookie salary enhancements. Current $76,000 initial salaries could advance to $150,000, representing substantial improvements. Enhanced wages might attract international athletes who presently earn more abroad, potentially improving overall talent quality. Performance expectations require consideration. Professional competitors struggling with basic skills like layups, typically developed in elementary physical education, raises questions about training and development emphasis. These fundamental abilities should influence compensation conversations. The organization exists at a junction between expansion and viability. Excessive player requests could eliminate recent advancement, while reasonable expectations might finally accomplish profitability. The negotiation result will establish whether the WNBA capitalizes on current momentum or becomes another warning about labor relations in professional athletics.
More serious than it was, and they decided not to tell us for a specific reason. That reason, I've already told you. But off the jump, there should have been 1 to 2 weeks off rip. We injure our quad, we get rushed back. We injure our quad again, we get rushed back. Now we injured our groin. Clear 1 to 2 week injury, clear 1 to 2 week recovery, in my estimation. But now she's bringing up All-Star break in these interviews.
The Indiana Fever announced Caitlin Clark's absence from Thursday's contest against the Las Vegas Aces due to a groin injury. Coach Stephanie White's comments suggest the injury might be more serious than initially revealed, with speculation increasing about potential absence extending through the All-Star intermission. The organization provided advance notice more than 24 hours before the contest, preventing supporters from traveling considerable distances only to learn of Clark's unavailability upon arrival. This consideration addresses previous concerns about last-minute decisions that left fans who had traveled internationally or across the nation disappointed.
Trying to become experts in that. And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Cut somebody else and sign the woman because she's fantastic. So the WNBA players have rejected the first CBA offer. And, of course, they got to get fly at the mouth over it, which, again, turns off a massive section of fans because the league has never turned a profit, ever.
White discussed the shift from game-time decisions to earlier announcements, emphasizing the need for appropriate perspective. She noted Clark's desire to return and the team's efforts to support her rehabilitation process. With 5 contests remaining before the All-Star break, the coaching staff prioritizes ensuring complete preparation over hasty returns. The injury timeline generates questions about transparency. Previous quad injuries resulted in accelerated comeback efforts, followed by re-injury situations. The current groin issue appears to require a standard 1 to 2 week recovery duration, yet discussions now reference the All-Star break as a potential return objective. This pattern resembles preseason management, where Clark was held out completely before returning for a high-profile Iowa contest. Similar circumstances might see her sidelined through the first half's conclusion, returning for All-Star activities.
But now she's bringing up All-Star break in these interviews. Very interesting. I don't care how long she sits, to be honest with you, as long as when she comes back, she's healthy. So if that means sitting her the rest of this week, bringing her back July 9th against the Valkyrie, then that's what it means. If that means resting her all the way up until the All-Star break, then that's what it means. But it would be very similar holding her out all preseason only to bring her back against the Iowa game, then keep her out the back half of the first half of the season only to bring her out.
Concerning collective bargaining discussions, Phoenix Mercury's Satou Sabally characterized the league's recent proposal as disrespectful to athletes. She advocates for roster expansion and increased investment in existing teams before pursuing additional franchises. Sabally criticized organizations that consistently cite financial limitations as justification for restricted player investment. The fundamental challenge remains profitability. Team owners reference ongoing losses and debt accumulation as legitimate concerns about increased spending. These business leaders seek returns on investments that have generated deficits for years. Requests for additional multi-million-dollar commitments face resistance from ownership groups already operating at losses. Sabally's roster expansion preference over league growth presents valid argument. Additional roster positions for existing teams might prove more beneficial than adding franchises in Philadelphia and Detroit, with 5 total teams joining by 2030 to reach 18 franchises.
Ever. And it's like the players don't know that. They're living off the subsidies of the National Basketball Association. They're living off of Steph Curry and LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Kobe and all the legacies. They're profiting off of that. Well, they're not even profiting off of it. They're staying afloat off of it. I can't say profit because they ain't made no money. They're going to make money as long as they don't get.
Current collective bargaining negotiations reveal significant gaps between player expectations and financial reality. Athletes currently receive approximately 9.3% of league revenue, while NBA players earn 49 to 51% of their league's income. The critical difference lies in profitability. NBA generates substantial profits alongside large revenues, while WNBA struggles despite revenue growth from $100 million in 2019 to over $200 million in 2024. Revenue increases should theoretically benefit athletes through percentage-based calculations. 9% of $300 million exceeds 9% of $100 million significantly. Ownership likely offers percentage increases to 12%, what possibly 17%, along with jersey sales revenue sharing. However, large portions of currently negative profit margins remain unavailable until fundamental financial improvements occur.
Then keep her out the back half of the first half of the season only to bring her out for the All-Star game. Very similar how those two instances are playing out. Let's hear what Satou Sabally had to say about CBA negotiations and the most recent offer.
I think we can focus on our players in the union. We got a proposal from the league, which was honestly a slap in the face. And I think we really have to put an emphasis on the players that are in our league right now. But I love to see the league growing. I think, adding
Player leverage appears limited compared to ownership positions. In potential work stoppages, athletes face greater losses than owners. The 2026 season's cancellation would disproportionately impact player careers and earnings. Current momentum requires immediate capitalization rather than delayed negotiations that might reduce league interest and player bargaining power. Sophie Cunningham addressed expansion concerns, noting NBA opportunities exceed WNBA options significantly. She emphasized consulting athletes about preferred destinations and cited Miami, Nashville, and Kansas City as potentially attractive markets. The Women's Soccer League demonstrates successful fan